Hey, welcome to the Doc Analyzes Anything, the show where science and psychology meet and we analyze any human behavior, including sending an email to someone sitting directly next to you, but instead of writing a message, attaching a photo to yourself holding a sign that says check your email.
Wait,
I don't make
so
these
you're
up.
holding the sign?
You send
You're
it says you're holding a sign and a photo in the email.
That says check your email.
This is complex.
Yeah,
This is part complex.
It's like that movie Inception.
Yeah.
it feels almost like one of those situations where like you get the picture of the picture in the mirror, and it just goes on forever. Like you just keep getting emails with inside emails.
With all of these topics that we always get from the behavioromatic, I mean, they're a very niche thing. Like this one is like extremely niche. I feel like this one would be the least likely out of all of them. Like there's one talking about like walking around with a mango or a fruit we had a couple of weeks ago.
Pineapple.
Yeah. Pineapple.
Wasn't it
yeah,
a pineapple?
I feel like this is
or
that's way more likely than this.
I don't know. This seems like the sort of thing that I might do just because I own the company, and that way I'm like freaking out someone who doesn't know how to respond next to me and seeing how they react to it. But
I did
just coming from a random.
I had a friend giving a presentation once. I texted him your flies down like during the presentation, but it backfired because he was presenting with his MacBook and the messages show up. So it popped up your flies down on the screen in front of everybody. Yeah.
I would not say that is backfiring. If anything, that just worked even better in your favor.
It worked out well.
Yeah.
If he could play it off well, I feel like that'd be really good for a presentation.
Yeah, this was part of it. It's part of it.
My favorite thing to do with presentations, to give it a little lighthearted, is I always put a fish fin at the end for my last slide for PowerPoints to see if people get the reference of fin.
I don't get it.
Like the French video ends and the fin. Yeah.
It says fin.
Brad, that's a great one. I like it. A little Easter egg.
Some people get it, some people don't. Most don't. It's more
reminds me. So my wife Taylor, who actually I think is going to join us for a fun one-off episode here in the not too distant future.
Right.
Who's also Brad Meow Meow's sister. She tells a story about when she was in school where they were doing a group presentation, and they just put like where a blank space where they were going to put a graph, like just put the fucking graph here, and then forgot. And so that was just in the middle of the slide on the presentation.
Amazing. Yep.
So,
I mean, if that doesn't define undergrad, nothing will.
Yeah.
And the TA probably thought it was hilarious.
Just glad that I haven't done that in a professional presentation yet, but it'll happen, I'm sure.
It'll happen.
Or you're putting up a message from somebody, and then they see your classic message title when you send people.
What's that?
What is it, Steve?
What?
Or maybe it's just a Taylor thing, but turtle dick.
Turtle dick?
She did that just in an email to me, but a professional email, just so I'd see that like in a meeting and just be like, what? And so
every email I've ever gotten has always been titled that.
Wow.
I don't know what to tell you.
Not everybody.
Oh, every email ever. I said, maybe that's your email. That might be you.
It's so weird. I keep seeing it every time I get an email, and it's my email address.
I think they're just calling me that now. Well, hello, everyone. Now that we've gone down that pathway, I'm your host.
Hello.
Dr. Steven Sparks, with my always co-host Kyle Surrey, and most of the time co-host Dr. Bradley Clements. And today we're going to talk about why do famous people seem like friends. And this actually came about as a suggestion. I was sitting at one of our favorite up north Michigan breweries, having dinner while waiting for Brad to come up and help me do some work up there. And the girlfriend of one of the bartenders was sitting there, and I told her, like, you're just BSing talking about the podcast, and she's like, "Oh, that would be a good one. Why don't you talk about why, like, when you listen to a podcast, it feels like you know the person?" And so we broaden the topic a little bit, but this is just a
Yeah.
reminder to everybody to send us your ideas so we can actually talk about the things you want to hear about.
This is a podcast for the people. That's the new tag.
Yes. And if I am not representative of the people, then who is? That's the
Steve, you're not representative of the people.
No.
You're truly one of a kind.
But
I'm
I
an
am.
enigma.
I'm a representative of the people, and you guys are my cohorts in this.
You guys are his friends.
But
He
yeah,
is a friend
by
to you.
association. No, I like this topic though, because I feel like I know and am friends with Keanu Reeves. I feel like when I see footage of him or like see him doing things out in public, like paparazzi interactions, I'm like that's my bud. That's my guy.
He does seem like he'd be approachable. On the flip side, but somehow the same thing, I feel like I would get along with Bill Murray greatly, yet nobody could actually be friends with him because he is such an enigma that just like shows up, does something kind of silly or wild, and disappears again. You know what I mean? Like, does he actually have any real friends, or is he just this persona that is out there?
There's great footage of him just like popping into like a frat party or like showing up at a wedding and stuff like
Yeah.
that, unannounced, uninvited. Yeah.
Like showing up doing something wild and saying no one's ever going to believe this, and then
No
disappearing.
one's gonna believe you.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
my
that.
thought
That
is
is
my person is Ken Jeong.
Ken Jeong. All right.
I think he's hilarious. I think he'd be an amazing person to have a conversation with. And the fact that he was a medical professional before
yeah.
his real
Right.
stuff.
So getting into the topic, like,
So what is it that you guys truly believe? Why is it with podcasters that makes them seem like normal, down to earth people? Is it the fact that, like, even though we're not famous, but like how in the grand scheme of things, we are just three normal people? And so do you think because podcasters are essentially that in the long run is why they're relatable?
yeah, I think so. We'll get into like anybody that you have a lot of contact with, even if it's one-sided contact, is going to kind of eventually seem like someone you understand or relate to more over time. But I do think it is that we don't think of podcasters as being famous to the same extent as like a movie star or a music, act.
Nice.
And the fact that I'll get into some details about some of like, the actors, actresses, and even like musical acts here later on, but and like why one may seem like you know them better than another, possibly. Anyways, it's just kind of a theory of mine. But podcasters being themselves, they're not putting on an act, they're not playing a part. It is just up there talking, and so you're only getting a glimpse into a very small area of their life and a very small part of their interest. But I do think the reason they would seem, more than an actor or an actress is due to the fact that you are talking about someone who is just being themselves as they talk most of the time. So I'm not sure if you're aware of this. It was brought to my attention after I started working on this. There's actually a term for this type of phenomenon. It's called parasocial relationship. According to Oxford Languages, which is just what popped up when I did an internet search, it is denoting a relationship characterized by a one-sided, unreciprocated sense of intimacy felt by a fan or follower for a well-known or prominent figure, usually media celebrity, in which the fan or follower comes to feel like they know the celebrity as a friend. And so,
Parasocial. That's
yeah.
what that's called.
And so it is such a normal thing that I think probably everybody does to a certain extent, although most of us would probably be able to understand logically that it seems like that, but it's not real compared to some others. But it is just such a normal phenomenon that we all have that to a certain extent, I believe.
That's interesting. Like there's always like the common celebrity complaint, like people want them to be their characters like in public, to like get mad at someone who played a villain in a movie, but they're not
Yeah.
really a villain in real life. It's interesting how that I mean I don't know how that starts, but to be that involved intimately with somebody who doesn't even know who you are.
Yeah, I have
Humbling moment.
I have some theory about it, and again, we could never tell unless we took one single person, analyzed their behavior, their belief, and then came up with a real concrete uh, hypothesis, and that was still based on that one person. You couldn't necessarily perfectly
Right.
generalize it to everybody, but you could assume it's probably pretty accurate. But short of that, everybody should know that the hypothesis I put forward later on is just that, just my idea of what's probably happening. But we'll get into that a little bit later as we get into some of the examples too, because I think there's some reasons that one actor or actress might seem to be someone that you know better than another. And there's actually at least one famous example that I have of someone getting a little too upset or taking it too far based on someone was doing in a role that I was found.
Nice.
It's interesting, but also kind of scary at the same time. So,
It's the juicy stuff, though. Let's get into it.
yeah. So, getting into this definition, though, it's really specifying it being a well-known or prominent person. But I think it's any time that we have, increased access to an individual. And so I was thinking like, you're pretty much anyone that you like see enough of, you can sort of feel like you know them. Kind of the same way that being around someone at work each day, even if it's not someone that you normally choose to spend your time with, if you met them out, in public, it is someone that you may decide that you've become your best work friend. You know what I mean? This person I have a close relationship with, even though I may not know that much about their personal life, just because we spend this time together. Um,
Right.
or like your waiter or barista, if you go to the same place for dinner or the same coffee shop a lot, you may know nothing about their personal life whatsoever, but you get to know and maybe even call that person a friend in talking about somebody else just because you feel like you know them well enough. Um, Kind of like referring to people I went to high school with, and I always like, oh yeah, this friend from high school. I'm like, actually, were we friends? I don't know. We didn't actually hang out outside of school. We just talked in class together. But
Right.
the bigger issue is, would they consider me a friend, not whether or not I would consider them a friend. But um, you can see it, almost anywhere where you're having contact with people. Um, Even going to the gym and you and another person are wearing, headphones, but you see each other enough, you maybe nod because you recognize that you see each other enough, and you may start to feel like you know that person, even though you never actually even talked to them. And so I think this
Right.
phenomenon is kind of like an extension to something that is just a normal human interaction, but it becomes maybe more problematic if you think you can then approach strangers like they are friends.
Yeah. Like
You're saying that
if
in reference to like someone that you have never even had this type of situation or interaction with, but you will just openly approach people, is what you mean, or the people that you feel as though have become a quote unquote friend.
I think that's the same thing. The both can occur. And so um you see an actor, an actress, maybe it's not necessarily a big name, which maybe scare you a little bit more away, but just like I see this person, they always play a role that's so approachable. Now I feel like I know them, we're friendly on friendly terms, and I can approach them in an elevator. Whereas they're probably like, oh no, here's another person who's coming to talk to me like they know me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Oh, and there's something about like going through a shared experience too with somebody. Like you get really into a film and it's very emotional, and you start to like take that upon yourself to like have gone through the experience with that person essentially. Like I feel that way. What do I feel that way with movies? I probably do. I can't think of any movie off the top of my head.
Die Hard?
Not Die Hard. I've never seen Die Hard. Never
Neither
seen
have
it.
I. I just reference it because of the joke of
uh
the Christmas movie.
I feel closer to you now that I feel bad admitting that, but I'm glad that you have that similar experience as me.
I don't know what everybody else can see at like if they're watching this on YouTube, but I'm sitting between you two on my screen, and I feel like I should move over and just let you guys sit together now.
Do a little cross state high five.
Now, this is what me and Kyle do to you. We just sandwich you.
Yeah. There might be something to that too, though. Like it was mentioned in some of the things I was looking at. Taylor Swift has had seemingly more people feel like they know her personally.
Yeah.
And it's probably because a lot of her songs are, or at least seem to be, stories of her own love life that are probably shared experiences between a lot of especially teenage and younger females. And so they feel like, we've been through this together, even though it is not. And then anybody that's, into Eminem's music, everybody knows the Stan, song and
Mm.
storyline, and whether or not I never did read whether Stan was supposed to be a specific person or just a commentary on how people, once he became famous, started approaching him like they knew him. When, if you've seen interviews and stuff, he is not the most outgoing person in public. You know what I mean? He seems uncomfortable when having to converse outside of the context of his music or something he's doing, So uh
Gotcha.
it could be, I mean, in his early music too is like talking about, sitting there struggling as a youth, in situations. And so the people that are really recognizing and identifying with that may feel like there's a closer kind of kinship there compared to um Jim Croce playing Bad Bad Leroy Brown. I don't know how many people are closely contacting that one,
That was a random cut, not a deep cut, but I didn't expect it.
That it came up the other day, something about a song he wrote and how he was moving away from the limelight when he died at a fairly young age. And that
Uh-huh.
reminded me, because one of my favorite things, like riding in the car with my dad as a kid, was listening to either, for some reason, that or You Don't Mess Around with Jim, or like Bad to the Bone. Some of these songs just stick out to me, riding in the back of the pickup truck as a kid,
Right. Yeah. I had those. It was always Aerosmith with my dad.
Queen.
Aerosmith, I got
Queen.
my first Aerosmith CD we drove out west in a motorhome, old, like 20, 30-year-old motorhome. And we had like one or two CDs, and one was Aerosmith's Greatest Hits, and that just got
Yeah.
played
I
constantly the
think
whole way out.
everybody had that CD growing up.
Yeah.
At least if you were alive in the early 90s.
We actually all went to the Nine Lives concert when they came out, the
Oh.
Nine Lives. Yeah, album.
Not a great band. I don't love them.
Really?
Is that a hot take there that I don't like Aerosmith?
Steve, what's your because I really like Aerosmith.
I don't have any problem with their music, but I don't choose to go around listening to it. So maybe that tells you something. Like, it feels like they had a heyday that didn't live as long as it seemed like it was going to, but maybe also because of when we were born, it's just was
Yeah.
in the middle of that, so it seemed bigger than it was, even, or maybe it was that big and they just haven't done anything in quite a while. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
one band that I just learned about that I guess because of the amount of music that they made that was huge.
Chumbawamba.
I would have thought that
Is it
I would have thought that
Chumbawamba?
they were together a lot longer than they actually were. But the Beatles, I didn't realize, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but their stretch of truly being like the four of them as a band was like maybe 5 years.
Yeah. It wasn't that long.
I don't know. I didn't realize it was that short, if it was that short, but I
Yeah.
know that they definitely ended things a lot earlier than people expected.
Yeah. I get this is off topic, I guess, of everything, but do either of you, or I guess this is more Kyle, I feel like you probably know more. Do you know
How
why
dare you?
they disbanded? Well, you didn't know that they were together that short either. Do you know what their riff was?
I know. I think I'm not gonna go on record saying that I know exactly why the Beatles ended, because I'll get some angry people who are super fans. I know that the onset of Yoko Ono coming into the picture, creative differences, things like that.
Yeah, I know that.
There's also the unfortunate barrier of being murdered. John,
Yeah.
but
But
that's a situation of what we're talking about, though, I believe, because
So
didn't
that's
John
not an
Lennon's
example of an extreme case that I used, because it wasn't that he necessarily felt that he was he knew him as much as it was he was a huge Beatles fan, got obsessed, and then was very angry and thought it was his fault for breaking up the band. And so it was an anger issue, not a I know you and then you like spurn me type situation.
Mark David Chapman, and he's still alive. He's 70 years old.
Is he still in
I
jail?
wouldn't have thought
I
that.
would assume.
Looks like he's still in jail. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, because
That's
I
wild.
thought I had heard that it was. Well, I guess yeah. He's just mad that. But yeah. Okay.
He was mad at several people. They were like, when I was looking at it, because I thought he was going to be a good example for this, and he was mad at like 3 or 4 famous people at the time, and decided that that was the easiest person to get to out of the people that were famous that he was angry with. So,
do you by chance know who the others were?
I saw it a little bit ago, but do I remember now?
Now,
this says that he was
I'm imagining Steve Buscemi's list from Billy Madison, and that was him. John Lennon just unfortunately was at the top, and the red Sharpie made its way through.
crosses them off.
Yeah. Poor dude.
Yeah, no, it doesn't say who. I can't find who else he had on his list, but it was Lennon's "I'm bigger than Jesus" comment that spurred the motivation.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah, they said that he had a interesting up and down life anyways. Was angry and became a born again Christian, but then attempted suicide. Like, none of that guy's storyline make logical sense in terms of, why he was so angry. So
yeah.
But either way, he wasn't part of our show today. So thanks, guys. Let's get back to
I mean, he became a somewhat decent example, so you're welcome. I'll take my paycheck now.
Yeah, geez, Steve.
Again, though, we're talking about not stalkers and murderers per se, but why people feel like famous people, like they know them personally, and we do not know if he felt that way necessarily. So,
but did you ask him?
Yeah, I called him up right before this, and he just wouldn't answer the question. He just wouldn't answer.
Classic avoidant behavior. He was embarrassed.
So, Steve, what other celebrities did you do in preparation for this episode?
First, before we get into like specifics on cases of stalking and maybe even harm to people, I was trying to figure out why it might seem like one person may seem more approachable or like them better than the other. And again, like I'm sure all famous actresses and actors have people who feel like they know them to a certain extent. And the bigger the name is, the probably more they're in, so the more people would feel like they know them as well. But the parts they play and their style of acting, I think, tell us quite a bit too. And so I was thinking, like, Vin Diesel, The Rock, I feel like I could walk in a room where they were there to have a conversation and know exactly what that conversation was going to be like. You know what I mean?
No.
Boring.
No way.
I don't. You think that either of them are acting and not just playing themselves in slightly different roles over and over again?
Have you seen Pacifier?
Like 5 seconds of it.
Way different than Fast and the Furious, Vin Diesel.
You said slightly different roles, and I'm just confused at what's slightly different about each role that they play.
All right, they're playing a different person in the movie, but they're still acting like the tough guy, macho, like.
Yes,
but Vin Diesel always, except for maybe the Pacifier, seems more
no,
like
he was still tough guy. He was military.
I know, but he seems like more of a hard ass than like The Rock. Seems like he may give you a hug while he's giving you like the look that he gave in wrestling all the time. You know what I mean? But either way, like, look at Schwarzenegger. I mean, was he actually acting ever, or did he just say he had a different name repeatedly? You know what I mean?
Fair.
That's true. That's true.
And so, like, people like that, you can definitely see where it's the same role, the same person, kind of over and over again, that you would feel like you knew them when you saw them or talked to them. You'd know what to expect. And then if there started to be a blurring of that line between what is real and what am I kind of expecting, imagining, then you could see where that may go. even like some of the greats, like I think of like Tom Hanks, and he's played some iconic roles, and every single time, but regardless of what it is, he does it very, very well.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean
But
Captain Phillips and Forrest Gump. I forget which one I'm watching.
but he's playing a completely different role, but he's still Tom Hanks in the end. You know what I mean? Forrest Gump versus Road to Perdition, one of my favorite movies. He's like an old like 30s
Great movie.
gangster. He's
Yep.
a murderer. He's a hard ass, yet somehow he's still Tom Hanks. In the background, behind it all, he's still the type of guy that I feel like no matter how tough he had to be, how mean he'd have to be, if you were just alone in the room with him, he'd still be like nice enough to say hi. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but
So you feel
when
like you know him based on all those roles, even though they're really, really varied and different?
yeah, I feel like he's still in the background. He is meshing himself and who he is into the role. He is becoming the role rather than
Yeah.
like a method actor where you hear things like who was I thinking of? Christian Bale or Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix, where they get so into the role that people don't like working with them sometimes, supposedly because they are that person throughout all of filming. They are not
Sure.
themselves. If they're playing a jerk or someone a bad person, then they are not nice to be around. You know, it's even think about Meryl Streep, who I'm sure is extremely nice, but I happen to be watching Only Murders in the Building while I was
Hmm.
doing these notes last night, and like, is she really this sweet older like actress lady who never quite made it, or is she the mean CEO that you wouldn't want to spend time with from like Devil Wears Prada? It's
Hmm.
they play the role so intensely and so much they become the role rather than meshing it into who they already are, that I wonder if they have people who seem, people feel like they know them less because they are not necessarily that same exact person every time.
Yeah.
Like Christian Bale tends to play kind of that stoic guy quite a bit, but if you look at who he was, I think it was when he was played the boxer. What was that? The Fighter, I think. And he was like that kind of goofy, used to be famous, but now he has a drug problem attitude
Hmm.
versus the um I was thinking not Batman, but Patrick Bateman, where he's like the American Psycho, and like
Yeah.
if you didn't have the face or the voice, you just saw the persona, you wouldn't know which one actually fit him. You know what I mean?
You ever seen the documentary about Jim Carrey filming the Man on the Moon?
I've heard about it. I've never actually seen it,
It's
but
interesting. He claims he's like he got the role. He became Andy Kaufman. He only answered to Andy. He would ask who's Jim when people referred to him as Jim. He was as erratic as Andy Kaufman or as like off the wall. And then once filming ended, he's like, Andy's spirit left my body, and I was Jim again. It's a really
it's
interesting documentary.
it's weird because you would never think of Jim Carrey being that guy, except for maybe Cable Man. You know, I mean, other than that, he seems to play
Cable
a
guy.
lot of the same type of goofy roles. I know he's played some serious roles and done very well with them, but that's just not who you
Yeah.
picture. And so when you picture Ace Ventura or Dumb and Dumber, like then you get a picture like, oh, I would know him. You know what I mean? But probably not at all. He's just actually much better, so good at playing the roles that you think that is him. You know,
Cable Guy is an extremely underrated movie, I will say.
I was.
It's one of my favorites.
What
I'll
year
be
did
honest,
that
a
come
lot of the
out?
movies you guys are referencing, you're aging yourself.
I
That's
know
fine. That's fine.
Because
they're
I
good
don't.
enough
I
that
know, like, I know of Ace Ventura, but I've never seen it. I've seen
Oh
the
man.
first like hour of American Psycho. Never seen Cable Guy.
so Cable Guy, I was 10 when it came out, and it was pretty disturbing to me as a 10-year-old. I'll be honest.
Did you get grounded and scolded at in the Taco Bell parking lot for quoting Ace Ventura as a third grader, though, to your cousin's new boyfriend who was an aspiring pastor? Because I
uh
did.
my parents probably would have laughed if I did that. So
What did you say? Am I allowed to ask?
what?
There's a it's the just look up the Bumblebee tuna line from Ace Ventura, and that's
Uh
what I whispered.
your balls are showing. Bumblebee tuna.
Yeah, I was gonna leave it more mysterious for Brad to
No.
find out later, but it's okay.
Nope, it's growing. It's a great one. So, do you think that the type of acting and how they play the characters might like, does that make sense that it would like to like play a role in how well you think you know someone, or is it?
Yeah, because I'm
Have
trying
you?
to think like if you take and I don't have a good like example off the top of my head, but if you were to take someone that only plays in like horror films or thriller movies, I would feel a lot less attached to them rather than like a character or an actor that actress whatever that plays more of like a heartstring pulling type of role. So I feel like you're,
Mm,
you're bound to feel more attached to those types of individuals.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with that repeated exposure. So most of the things we learn in life are what we like can through what we could consider multiple exemplar training. You know what I mean? As a kid, you don't sit down with your 2-year-old and say, "Okay, this is the definition of a dog." You know, it's here's 50 different instances of seeing a dog, hearing a dog barking, you know, seeing a
mhm,
cartoon dog, and you start like forming this concept because of how much you've accessed these stimuli, and over time you get this kind of formation of this is what a dog is, even though I would have trouble giving you the definition that separates a dog from a cat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 4 legs, tail, fur, wet nose, whiskers. Like, all right, where's the difference? But I don't know. There's been very many situations in my adult life where I've confused a dog and a cat. And so the more you see someone and the more you see them being them, the more it's going to be this concept of who they are. And so that's why it seems to me like we get this concept of someone like Tom Hanks, who there's always a little bit of him in there, even though he's playing each role in a very believable and like well done way, compared to someone who's getting so into that character that they no longer are themselves at all.
mhm.
It's not going to be necessarily an example of them as a person. It's an example of their acting, and you can talk about their ability to act in their art form, but who they actually are, you're not getting a glimpse of the same way, it seems like. Um, then you have but we already talked about podcasters who are kind of just putting themselves out there often and being themselves. But think about the social media personalities where you are literally just seeing clip by clip examples of who they are in life. And maybe they're putting on a show and acting, but this is just like a video they did of themselves doing something goofy at Taco Bell or something like that. You know what I mean? It's going to be where you feel like you know that person way better than you would even a person that's acting, because at least an actor, you know, they're playing a part.
Mhm.
It's an interesting world. I walked past somebody. Have you ever seen the videos where they're like pointing to the words above them, like in the video, like that, just glancing through stories or whatever? But I saw somebody recording themselves and they were just walking around doing like pointing up and like shaking and like thumbs up, pointing up, and I'm just like, you look so stupid, man. I couldn't deal with it.
No,
But that makes me old. I'm now part of I'm just what's holding people back, I feel like at this
you're
point.
part of the problem.
Part of the problem.
What do you mean you're holding people back though?
Well, okay, maybe that's the wrong way of saying it. If I thought it was cool and I liked what they were doing, would they keep doing it? Like I've this whole like 6'7" phenomenon, like I've made a point to say it as much as possible around my son, and he's 13, he started saying it, and now that I'm saying it, it's not cool anymore, and he doesn't want to say it anymore.
Yeah, so you're in your child's eyes, and probably you and I, for anybody under like 30, 35 listening to this, including Brad here, are like the anti-cool. And so anything that's cool that we do is now going to immediately become not cool.
Wait,
We
I'm
can
part
squat.
of this. Whatever I do is
Well, I
anti.
said under 30. You're not 30 yet, so
Oh, I was
you're
about to
in
say
that
I like
bubble.
to think I'm a pretty like I don't
We
know.
had a meeting about you earlier,
Yeah,
Brad.
no, I've said that to you, we are the anti-cool, not you hearing the voices? What's going on there?
No, there is a truck horn going on somewhere, and it's been
Hey,
going on for a minute now.
well, I mean, at least we have some good enough editing here that we're not hearing it, so That's good.
Yeah, I've
And
got
maybe me looking around for a second is gonna.
The problem is most people are not watching this, and so the whole conversations is going to be like, what just happened there? But that's
I
all right.
can hear the truck horn getting further away right now. So this guy is just laying on this horn right now while driving down Woodward.
There's probably going to be a fight in like downtown Birmingham in about 30 seconds. Just
but
so
a
you
fun opportunity to learn about the Doppler effect, right?
know.
Is it
Yeah.
getting lower in pitch?
It wasn't a lower pitch; it was just intensity.
So they're not going
Well,
fast enough to
yeah,
make the difference
never
salient.
mind.
Are you
Just
much?
trying to.
Are you a physics man? Do you enjoy that kind of stuff?
My nickname is Physics Man.
That's actually my superhero name.
That's some nerdy stuff right there. But sidebar, I do enjoy like the conceptual things within the realm of physics. I think it is very cool.
I mean,
continue on with mental or psychological things.
to tie it into what we do then is like, all right, people, you'll hear them all the time, like, well, I'm making a decision to do this thing. It's not, behavioral science is making me do it. I'm like, cool. Well, when you fall down, is that just ghosts doing that to you, or is this physics still acting on it, even though you didn't think about physics at the time? You know what I mean? Like, the science is still there, whether you recognize what's happening or not. You may be still making a decision, but that decision is based on your learning history up to that point. So it is determined ahead of time, not necessarily that, the decision is why it's occurring,
Yeah.
But that's
exactly. Yeah.
That's beside the point. I just have to tie in. You're acting like, oh, we're gonna go from real science onto your stuff here.
Well, I mean, define. Actually, so have we ever discussed what the true definition of science is? Because I'm not trying to
You're not trying to derail this, like you're
no, I'm
derailing
not
it. Is that
trying
what
to
you're saying?
say that you're not science, but like, what is the true definition of science? Like testing hypothesis, then disproving. No, because that's mathematics as well.
I mean,
With
math.
theorems and everything.
Math is just the language of science. It is science, but it is just the way we communicate it.
Carry on. Just
All
a
right.
second.
I feel
If
like
we
I know
carry on
famous
right now,
scientists.
If we carry on right now, are you going to drag us right back to this conversation in 30
The
seconds?
definition of science is the systemic study of the natural world through observation, experimentation, and evidence-based reasoning. So, yeah, I was not trying to say that what you do is not science. I'm just saying we study different realms of science.
Okay.
And
Just
that
the way
is why
you
we're
said
such
that.
good friends.
Just the
But
way you
we're
said
all-
that.
We're all funneling right toward the truth,
Right
right?
towards the tip.
Right towards the top, not the tip.
Top. Sorry, yeah, top.
The peak.
The mind says what it wants to say.
I lost at this point.
Let's.
No,
I like it.
Whenever I listen to podcasters, I don't know, like I think it's just because they are just like a lot of them are just likable people. At least what they put off for the audience to hear. All right, now this is where you take over. Come on.
yeah. So thanks for trying to lead us back in like that. That was great.
I put on the blinker. And I just need you to turn the wheel on the highway.
I'm enjoying this so much. I don't know how much we're going to accomplish today, but I love it.
So we'll get into my kind of explanation of what might be going on then. And might is the big word here again, because we've not done an analysis of any individuals or why they feel like they know famous people personally. But to me, it almost seems like a false fluency. You know what I mean? Fluency is something that built up in a repertoire that you can kind of just use and do automatically because of your knowledge in either a subject or interaction, basically. And so if you know a subject so well that you can just talk about it without preparation for hours, it's kind of like the same way we learn about those people that we're close with in our lives, and we can interact with them without having to worry about what we're going to say or do and that sort of thing over time. You meet someone new and they teach you how to act with them. You might talk about some topics they don't, engage in, talk about other topics they do. Might tell a joke that's a little too dirty or a little too dark, and they give you a look like, oh, that there was the line and I crossed it. I'm not going to do that with this person again. But obviously, Dr. Brad is the type that wants all of your horrible jokes and memes. But when you're seeing someone or hearing someone or contacting them, it's almost the same type of thing, but you're not, it's only one sided. There's not your side of the interaction. So you're hearing and seeing other people interact with them, getting to know basically how you would interact with them based on what they reinforce or punish or extinguish in others. And then it is like a one-off step from the same process that we learn to interact with those people that we do, have some closeness with in our lives. And it's uh basically we talked about that multiple exemplar training, that repeated exposure. I feel like I am fluent in how to interact with this individual, even though I've actually not spent any time interacting with them whatsoever. And so, again, I think we all feel this way with people to a certain extent, but most people can really tell the difference between, a real relationship and just that feeling of I don't really know this person like personally, even though you don't.
Yeah.
And so I think that's when you kind of get into this topic of those people that can't tell the difference. The people that have some problematic behavior with famous people. And I'm sure we'll do a full episode someday just on stalking in general. You know what I mean? And like what's going on, because obviously it's not just famous people that deal with this. And there's a
Right.
lot of different situations, but you hear mostly about how someone has a stalker, like a star or a music personality. And I think most people assume it's, just purely sexually motivated a lot of the time, or hate motivated if they've done something, they don't like. Um, but I would kind of guess that a lot of situations, if not even most situations, may be due to this phenomenon we're talking about, where you've seen someone so much that you feel like you know them, and then you feel like you can, I mean, in some cases, even have a deep personal romantic relationship with someone you've never contacted before, and then when they don't reciprocate and let you into your life, now you've become a stalker because you're still acting like you have that relationship.
Yeah, there's similarities in stimulus presentation when you have a real relationship with somebody, and when you're just really interested in listening or watching somebody on YouTube or whatever, you're still potentially laughing with that person, crying with that person, maybe even talking to that person and feeling as though you're having a conversation. And so it's one step removed from a real relationship, but if you're unable to differentiate between the two, it can be really problematic.
Yeah, it mimics those relationships, and it's when those lines start to become blurred between reality and how things seem, that starts to become an issue. And according to a 1999 study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry, most people who are stalkers are considered lonely, somewhat socially incompetent, and have other psychiatric diagnoses that might account for some of this not being able to tell the difference between reality and what they're seeing and perceiving. And so, obviously, there's going to be other situations, and you can always argue whether or not those situations maybe should have a diagnosis. I'm thinking, like, when someone breaks up with a significant other and then they start stalking them because they can't get over the relationship,
Mm,
it's a chicken or the egg situation. Does this person have a diagnosis that just went undiagnosed or diagnosed, or is this a situation where no, they just can't let go and they're actually just being a bad person? And again, that's a future one. But in these other situations, it tends to be no, you have a diagnosis of schizophrenia or borderline personality disorder, and there is that overlap between what is actually real and what is it that you're just perceiving like to yourself.
mm. Have you ever had a
um
stalker?
Not that I know of, but I don't think I'm that likable, so that's probably why.
I think I had one.
Yeah.
It's unverified though, but we'll get into it. I don't want to talk about it though. Don't.
That's
I don't want to talk about it.
How are you gonna put that out there and just not talk about it?
It's called a teaser. Got to keep people on the edge of their seat, keep them listening.
This is that we announced a 5-part series where we go undercover to find my stalker.
I think if anything, I had like the opposite situation where like
People just try to stay away from
Yeah,
me.
it was
Situation would be you're the stalker.
like okay, that would be the true opposite. So I guess that's not where I was trying to go
Both
with
are
it.
Yeah, guys,
Both
I
are-
have the opposite story here.
But like I remember
both are not a good look on you, Steve.
I was known to be enough of a I don't want to say a loose cannon. I was involved in enough shenanigans in high school that like I pulled up to a coffee shop one time to get a coffee, and I heard this kid be like, "Oh, that's Steve Sparks' car," and like they were afraid because I had just pulled up to the coffee shop. I'm like,
They, like,
first of all,
pull
how
off
do you
the
know
door.
who I am? And also, that's my car. So here we
Like
go.
all the wood shutters go up. Like we don't want no trouble.
Right. I'm like, I kind of want to know the stories you're hearing now because they're obviously much better than what's true, and so kind of I want to sit down and listen to it also. But
Meanwhile, Steve is walking out with his double fist of pumpkin spice latte for himself.
but that's not dangerous. This could cause a heart attack or something someday.
What was that? Oh, I see. With the second part, I made it sound.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, my lips are too dry to actually do the whistling well, but that's
I
all
noticed that.
I can see the cracks from here, man.
I don't know what's going on. I just like
And now we bring in today's sponsor, Chapstick.
Yeah. Randomly woke up today with my voice is just going out on me, and I've just been blaming Brad for me being allergic to his bullshit because he came over and played video games the other night. So,
oh man,
I made Steve rage quit one too many times. I had to tame the beast, beat his ass.
I was yelling at him for my bad golf shots playing PGA 2025.
My
or
favorite,
2K25.
all right, my favorite thing is because like I do actually golf, and so like typically if I hear like, oh, like do you want to golf, I'm like, oh, like we go out and like play actual golf. Dr. Sparks, he wants to get into like actual golf some more, but he's not at that point.
I don't have time with two small
kids. He says, hey, do you want to golf? Oh yeah, you mean the video game? Do you want to
I mean,
play?
come over. Let's drink a fancy beer and play some video games. That's what I mean. You have been really just pulling me off the top here a lot today. I don't know. What's going
baby,
on.
I do that every day.
Hey, you invited us here.
Yeah.
We have.
So
I'm more color commentary, I think, nowadays rather than like true.
Maybe we've gotten better at stating things in a way that don't sound too scientific. Also, I don't know, or maybe you're just not doing your job.
Life to this.
Yeah. It's probably you're just not doing your job, but
that too. That's me on a daily, man.
There's your doctor for you. Your dog's doctor.
Man, I'm doing my best out here.
So getting back to like the idea that there's issues with kind of isolation and maybe lack of social skills to maintain or build some of those relationships. I think even without maybe some of the delusional behavior, and again, a lot of times you see in these cases where someone's found not guilty by reason of insanity and sent to a hospital instead of jail because of their diagnosis. Mm-hmm. But even without that, I think you have situations where this can seem realer to you because you are isolating, because you don't have people around you. And not necessarily like isolation, like away from people, but you just don't have those relationships in order to have this type of interaction with somebody else. It is just, you're inventing it with a person that you see a lot of. So I found a couple examples of some that seem to fit this line. Like the singer Ashanti had a stalker who sent nude photos of himself. But he did so after believing at one of her concerts that he was in the crowd of, that they made very strong eye contact. And this was some sort of way for her to message that she wanted to have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And so it's likely he already felt this connection just through listening to the music and seeing the music videos and that sort of thing, maybe even watching interviews. And then she just looks in his general direction in the crowd, which with the lights and everything, she's not even seeing this guy. And he's like, "Oh, we made eye contact. We're soulmates now."
He
And
shot
that's
his
enough to
shot.
send him over the yeah.
Was
Yeah.
was he jailed for that, or how did that go down?
So I'm trying to remember that if that was one of the ones that where he was found like to have enough of a mental illness that he just was forced for treatment, or if he was actually jailed for that. And I did not write that one down. But a lot of them do. Usually, by the time that they're actually reported on, there's at least some legal action having been taken. And so, in this case, I'm pretty sure something had gone on, but I don't remember where that actually went.
Gotcha.
Another one, Sheryl Crow had a stalker who later told police that they were spiritual twins and destined to marry one another, even though they had never met
Wow,
and talked.
that is wild.
Yeah,
Sheryl Crow.
yeah. I mean, we've talked
It
about
was
it before,
me.
but the
I'm just
Canadians are too
kidding.
nice. We should just leave the Canadians out of this craziness, all right?
Oh, is she Canadian? I didn't know that.
All right. Now I'm gonna have to look it up because I could have sworn that was common knowledge, and now I'm second guessing myself.
Let's say everything we know about Sheryl Crow.
She might be
Nothing.
Canadian.
She is a female.
She
She
might
sing-
be Canadian.
I do
She's a
not know.
singer, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
American. Nope, I was wrong. She's
See, that's my role as fact checker here.
yep. Yeah, and where were you on that one? No, she's from Missouri, it says. So
Wow. As well, I guess not as far from being Canadian as possible, but quite the distance.
yeah.
What movie was All I Want to Do Is Have Some Fun featured on?
I can almost picture it, but I cannot remember.
Wait, was it a movie? I thought it was a movie. Nope, I could be wrong.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
It was Die Hard.
To tell you the truth, I didn't remember a single song she did. I just remembered that she was a singer, and so thank you for at least orienting me to one of her songs. I appreciate.
That's a great jam. It's a good one. Yeah. Strong enough? Are you strong enough to be my man? Am I the only one here who knows a lot about Sheryl Crow? Or
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes. It was not my style of music necessarily, but I do remember that I think it was Weird Al had a song where he threw in that all I want to do is have some fun. It's just like a short clip of
man, I know a lot about Weird Al too. It was on one of his polka medleys.
yeah.
I'm a human Wikipedia for 90s music, man. You just talk to me about it now.
Weird Al is actually one I do know about.
Good job, Brad.
Actually, I felt old yesterday because I brought up The Lonely Island to some people, and they had no idea who I was talking about.
Well, I mean, I know it, but I like when some of the hits, like early stuff came out, I would not have known who it was. I would have known the song, but not the group, or not the name. But
I didn't realize that they were just an SNL group for a long time,
and that's how I knew them. So
yeah, that's how I knew them too. And they're hilarious.
I was about to say, actually, Andy Samberg, he is a guy I think would be very relatable in person in reality.
You should follow him around and like write him some
love notes.
Andy Samberg, this gets to you. We would love to host you.
We're not even outside your house or anything.
No,
Going
not
through
even
your
knocking
garbage
on the door right now.
It's like I could go through his garbage. I would just get to know him better.
Yeah. The things that you will find. That's how you really get to know what someone is about behind closed doors.
And that's the lesson today.
If you just raccoon your lifestyle,
I feel
you're
like
gonna be good.
We're gonna need a disclaimer to please don't go to celebrities' houses and go through their garbage.
There's actually another thing with celebrities is inviting celebrities to your wedding, because some of them will send you things or even a card because they're assistants.
I don't want
that has happened.
I don't want the gift, but like we wanted to figure out how to get Bill Nye the Science Guy to perform our wedding just because of that, how cool that would have been, or like having Bill Murray or someone show up. And by the way, Brad here did officiate our wedding, and yes, Bill and I would have been that much better than you. So
Sorry,
I'm
Brad.
not beginning that at all. Well, because then I actually would have known that I was supposed to be in the pictures if I was part of the party.
Yeah, he just didn't show up to come do any of the pictures with us. He just, truthfully, that was probably the saddest part about our wedding is we had these great hors d'oeuvres that we were busy doing pictures. We didn't even get to try them. And so you probably did not miss out because you got to have the hors d'oeuvres instead.
I don't remember eating hors d'oeuvres. I remember sitting in the dressing room and
Oh.
standing there because I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
Well, there you go. So back on track again. Halle Berry had a stalker who stated in court that the two were engaged, but her manager and publicists were trying to keep them apart. And she seemingly had no knowledge of this person, really whatsoever.
Wild.
And then this is a actress and model from back in the 80s that I wasn't as familiar with, probably because of what happened. But actress Rebecca Schaefer had a stalker named Robert John Bardo, and he became a little too obsessed. It actually said that he was obsessed with somebody else first, but then that person died in an accident, and so then he became obsessed with her instead, and felt somehow like he knew her well enough, and that became so blurred, like the lines between what was real and acting, that he became enraged when she had a scene with another actor she was in bed with, like he was being cheated on, but it was in the movie.
Wow.
And so he started trying to find ways about getting access to her. It doesn't claim that he said anything about knowing her or being in love with her, like that they were together, but the fact that he was so upset by this and started trying to show up at her work in her house, not to, seemingly attack her necessarily. Maybe that was always the goal, but when he finally found her apartment and showed up, and he was kind of there, just like, up here I am, and she's like, please never come back. Then he became enraged enough. He went actually, and enraged may not be the right word, because he went and got breakfast, took an hour, then came back with a gun and shot her in her doorway.
Oh,
and
man.
murdered her.
Did she die?
Yeah.
Whoa.
She died before making it to the hospital. And the only interaction they had ever had was she did answer one of his early pieces of fan mail that, like, just, oh, thanks for being a fan, sort of thing.
Jeez.
Well, at least he pondered the thought for a minute, so he was committed to it.
To me, that's worse. To me, that shows, like, you're not just panicking, freaking out, upset. Like, you are sitting there and deciding that this person who you think has just shunned you, and now you are going to kill them because you can't have them. Like, you see people reacting in the heat of the moment, and they still, deserve what comes to them. But when you have that emotional outburst, you can at least somewhat understand it, because we've all had it, whether it's, even as a kid, just not getting your way or something like that. But to decide, nope, I'm going to go calm down, have some breakfast so I'm not hungry when I get arrested, you know what I mean? Or when I'm running from the police here, that shows another level of depravity, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is depravity or is it depravity? What's the better way of saying that?
I don't know.
You say depravity, I say depravity.
Let's call the whole thing off.
All I could hear is when you said it was the heat of the moment. I just wanted to go, it was the heat of the moment.
Look at you referencing some old songs.
Who was it, Kyle?
Wait.
That was not in excess. It was
I'm not gonna be able to tell if you're right or not, so
I know who it was. You keep talking, I'll think of it. And
Right.
my hands are here, so I'm not looking it up. Not the Beatles.
That Kyle, that was a stupid answer. Why would you? Obviously,
I thought you said it was the Beatles.
No.
You might have, but either way. So probably the most famous case, though, that I could think of that most people would probably think of would be John Hinckley Jr. And so movie Taxi Driver comes out. I don't even know if she was technically a teenager. I think Jodie Foster was like 12 or 13 when she played the role of a child who's forced into prostitution to try to survive. Robert De Niro's character, attempts to kill a politician, and then it's foiled. It doesn't go well. And then he meets this girl and ends up killing her pimp because, social justice in the time. And it's really an entire commentary of the darkness of the world. There is no good guy, bad guy in this movie. But John Hinckley Jr. became obsessed with Jodie Foster. And it was several years later that he kind of felt that he was Robert De Niro's character. He felt that was becoming who he was. And in order to, copy these actions and try to win her heart, he was who shot Ronald Reagan, and attempted that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because of that movie?
Because of the movie and his obsession with Jodie Foster. I'd always heard that he did it to impress her, but I didn't know that it was because he was trying to copy what he saw in this movie when she was a child pretty much at the time.
Wow.
And so his situation, because it's so famous, we do know a little bit more. He was estranged from his family. He was actually kicked out of a white supremacy group or a neo-Nazi group because his views were too extreme. So we're talking about a person who's so socially isolated that the other socially isolated people that find each other in a form of hate kick you out because you're just that too far gone.
Dang.
And couldn't keep a job. He could not live. He was such an outcast. And another one we'll probably talk about in the future is the Unabomber and Ted Kaczynski and how he isolated himself from society as a whole. But this wasn't this. I mean, this guy's still walking on the street surrounded by people, yet he's still isolated. And, whether or not he had the mental illness issues prior to this attempt or later, but we know anybody that isolates themselves is going to start having weird thoughts. It causes delusional behavior.
Sure.
There are people that get diagnosis of dementia, not because necessarily there's a physical cause, but because your brain plays tricks on you as you are just away from people and only interacting with yourself. And so that really could have played that type of role, whether or not he had any diagnosis beforehand, because, I don't know that anybody saw this coming until he started really, getting obsessed and acting out some of these, you'd call them fantasies, but to him, I don't think it was a fantasy. I think it was very real.
Real as
He
day.
knew her,
Yeah.
he was in love with her, and this is how he was going to win her over.
Man. Toto. No, not Toto. Asia. That's who sings Heat of the Moment. Fact check me. Oh, I was thinking Toto, Africa.
Yeah.
It's the wrong continent. Asia.
Okay.
Went from In Excess to Toto to it's Asia. You can fact check me.
I don't
I'll
know
die
that
on that hill.
I stopped watching your hands, so you could have looked it up. I don't know.
You'll never know.
It was.
I'm certainly not gonna go back and watch the video to see if I can call you out. That'd be too much work. So.
Well, I feel like I know why we love our celebrities more now. Perhaps too much sometimes.
Yeah, and I think to make it interesting, you can't go down this rabbit hole without talking about these extreme cases. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling like you know people as long as you can keep those boundaries in check. I mean, if you run into a celebrity and you want them to be nice to you, maybe just smile and say hi instead of acting like your best friends. And they're going to be more likely oh, that person's normal. Maybe I will talk to them. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Just like everything in life, what is it? Anything in excess is not good for you.
Our second In Excess reference.
I think, everything in moderation, but that's
yes, everything in moderation.
That's never been how I live my life. So I don't know.
Everything can go too far.
I take everything to a place where it's not dangerous, but it's just kind of weird. Like, again, my coffee machine that's just lab equipment in the kitchen,
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So other than Andy Samberg, who are you stalking there, Brad?
I did say Ken Jeong.
Okay. Yeah.
Just those two at the moment, and then we'll
Okay.
see who I move on to next. You guys?
You'll notice that they're comedians, so he obviously has a type.
Oh, well, sue me. Actually,
All
don't.
right.
I can't afford that.
Don't sue me
Don't-
yet.
don't sue me.
Yeah. Scratch that.
It's
Scratch
like
that.
literally something you could be sued for. So I'm a stalker, so sue me.
Off the record.
Any other thoughts?
Don't stalk.
Don't
Okay,
stalk.
well, thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this little foray into why we all do what we do. Try to enjoy life, enjoy the upcoming holidays. Maybe don't stuff yourself too full in the Thanksgiving that you'll probably be hearing this after Thanksgiving, but we're coming up on it as we're recording this. And just try to enjoy and find the little things in life that make you happy, because you never know when you might become Instagram famous and there could be Dr. Brad lurking around the next corner behind you. So be safe out there.
Wow.
Ciao.
A very, very stern warning about Dr. Brad.